Ryan, welcome to the Leanpub launch video for the Agentic AI book, From Language Models to Multi-Agent Systems. I was wondering if you could take a moment to talk to all of us a little bit about yourself, about who you are and what you do, and then about what your book is about and who it's for.
Sounds great. Hi, Len. Thank you for having me. So I'm Brian Rad, and I'm currently a university professor, professor of computer science, and also an industry advisor. I have been in AI for, I would say, a little bit over 15 years. In fact, my first, I think, AI research was published in Springer Nature Journal back in 2010, which was submitted 12 months before that. A little bit about what I've been doing over the years. My career, I think, has spanned research, engineering, and education. I get bored easily, so I kind of change what I do pretty frequently. But it's been a lot of fun. In industry, I worked as applied scientist, software engineer, manager, and industry advisor. And then in education, over the past 6 years, I worked with 4 different universities. Had the pleasure of working with over 3,000 students. And this involves teaching courses, designing curriculum, and even building programs, degree programs. And the story of this book, I mean, it was, again, I think we are living in such a very, very interesting time. I have never been that excited that I am right now. And me watching how we actually changed the way we build softwares over the decades, I kind of see that pre-LLM era, we had this 3 kind of main group of people in tech. We had users of technology, we had researchers who actually pushed the boundaries of science, and then we had engineers who actually built off of the latest development in science and built products. I think post LLM era things got really interesting. We have different type of builders now. We have casual builders that build things for fun or for personal use, and then that's incredible. But at the same time, I think there is a need for craft engineers more than ever. So this is a term that I kind of made up over the years. By craft engineer, I mean an engineer who can actually see through the product before deploying it. So they can actually predict the risk and mitigate it before, I mean, some of it, right? It's impossible to see anything that can possibly go wrong, but at least some of it. And they can also fix things when they break. So they have some clues where to look at. Like, this is my definition of craft engineer. Now, the path to become a craft engineer, I'm observing that it's actually becoming such a painful and annoying path for engineers right now. So I think, so that's kind of where this story of this book starts. I wanted to build a book that can help people in AI adjacent roles understand how actually agentic AI works, how LLMs work, how to build with LLMs, whether it's agent or it's a RAG application or so on and so forth. And why that is so actually annoying, that pass, I think there are 3 reasons with that. There's so much AI content, like nowadays we go to our social media platform, there's a flood of AI content, right? There's so much about AI. But I think personally, the problem is there are 3 issues actually. I think problem number 1 is it's a lot around the hype. So a lot of these contents are there to impress you, to gain your gain your engagement, but not to equip you, right? And oftentimes they show you a tip of the iceberg, or they can also be inaccurate. The second problem I see is they are fragmented. So there is no connection between the things that we see online. And then the third problem, I think, is that sometimes we see very quality content, but they are too dense. They are not accessible for average audience. And they require a lot of prerequisite in order to be, and a lot of effort to be able to understand them. I think I wrote this book, and at the time I thought it's easy to write a book, and I was proven to be completely wrong, because I spent my entire time budget, and energy budget writing the first 2 chapters, and then your platform helped me to stay alive and push it all the way to this stage. That's pretty much, I think, the story of the book. And then the last segment of your question, I guess, was who is this book for? I think there are I'm going to start by who is this book is not for. I think that's easier. This book is definitely not for people who want to sound smart at dinner parties. I think there are a lot of resources around that. I think this book is for anyone who has some knowledge of machine learning and deep learning from the past and some programming knowledge. This could be anyone who either worked on some AI adjacent roles such as software engineering, data scientists, or technical leaders who want to understand what's going on with LLMs, AI agent, and all the actually the recent development of AI, which has been at a crazy pace over the last 5 years. So what I'm doing with this book is completely framework tool agnostic, because I think tools pop up every day. There are lots of tools that were around last year. If you don't know what they were, it would sound really bad, but they disappeared in a couple of months or a couple of weeks. I see a lot of anxiety on how to keep up. So this book is about things that hopefully going to stay, and hopefully going to help people to stay relevant.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, everything you said was very interesting. But what you said at the end there in particular about, everything is moving so fast and there's all this pressure to move. You see these kind of, memes or articles about people who have like, 100 instances of their AI going at once and feel like if they fall asleep and one needs some input, they've kind of failed as a human being or a professional or something like that. But one that reminded me of one line you have in your book, which I'm very sympathetic with, which is the barrier to building has collapsed while the chasm in understanding has never been deeper. And, you know, it reminds me of I was listening to a podcast where there was a professor, philosophy professor, I think from Nova Scotia or something like that, who was talking about, he was having this example, this experience in class where he'd ask students a question and they take out their phone and tap it into Chat GPT and then read out the answer. And it's like, if you don't, you can do that, but you're just a conduit for the input and the output then basically. And I think a lot of people who are like, have their 100 things going and stuff like that, and they're sort of trying to keep up with this frenetic pace of kind of building and building and building. One of the risks there is that you end up becoming just a kind of input output kind of, monkey. And what we actually all need to do and is spend time, maybe even a couple of hours a day, acting like researchers. Because if you're going to be able to use the AI well, you really need to understand it, which is what your book is really focused on. And in addition to that, the implication is not just understanding the AI, but understanding your field, what you're doing better than other people do. I mean, this is the way to compete and stay relevant. And it's actually that, like, although like getting fast with the AI and keeping up with the latest papers and tools and tricks and skills and all that kind of stuff is of course important. The deep knowledge is what's really going to make you effective.
Absolutely, 100% agree with what you said. I do believe deeply in that, and I think we are all figuring it out. I
Yeah.
think part of the thing I see that a lot of people think that there are a large group of people who have figured this out, but that's not true. We are all in this together, and we are trying to find ways that I think technology can augment us, and in a way that we can stay relevant and helpful in the future. But yeah, to your point, I think one way to do it is going to be experimenting with it, figuring it out how and where we can add value alongside the technology. And it's been, I think, depends on what you have been doing. It can be a very painful adaptation. I totally can see that. For example, I have close friends who are math teachers. These are genius people. Like they can solve very complicated equation in a fraction of seconds. But now, what do you do if there's a technology today that can do whatever you have spent your entire life doing, and you're so proud, right? I think that adaptation and that finding the angle that we can co-survive and we can add value and we can shine in the future, help the society, help ourselves, is going to be an ongoing, I would say, exploration, if not a struggle.
That's very well said, and I think a great place to end. The book is the Agentic AI Book, From Language Models to Multi-Agent Systems by Dr. Ryan Rad. Ryan, thank you so much for taking the time to do this video with us today, and thank you for choosing Leanpub as a platform for publishing your book.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Len. And I also want to say just one additional sentence here. I just want to thank you for actually putting out such an amazing platform. I can totally say that it's been built intentionally with a lot of love for book and knowledge sharing, both for authors and for readers. So thank you.
Thanks.